Welcome to the latest edition of Xmo Strata's online newscast. Xmo Strata carried out a rebranding programme for Apple Green's fast-expanding UK operation, setting new standards in the process. Petrogas Global Limited, which trades as Apple Green, had 24 sites in the UK, but after an acquisition programme, increased this to 45 by June this year. Xmo Strata was tasked with changing 12 of the new sites from Texaco branding to that of Apple Green, but the customer set some demanding targets. A normal site branding would take a week to 10 days depending on the site. This project was completed in 4 days per site. Each site had 2 installation crews, electricians, painters and sprayers working simultaneously to recondition signware, fit LED price units and traceably recycle debranded signware. All that with no reduction in safety or quality, earning congratulations from Petrogas Developments and Engineering Manager Connor Lucy. The company's IT controller Jack Martin has devised a comprehensive online training course for employees. A large part of the course focuses on formalising the process under which added value is delivered for customers. 8 course modules have been created so far, but more will follow. Employees completing the work are being trained in spotting and carrying out additional value work where they're qualified to do so. Examples include reusing materials and passing the resulting savings on to the customer rather than automatically using new materials. Rectifying small problems on the spot at no cost, even if not directly related to their work, to save the customer a call-out charge. And suggesting redesigns for panels so they can be made more cost-effectively and fitted more quickly. Those completing the course will report their added value items on the company's management information system Xmo Man, meaning that in future customers will know exactly how much work Xmo Strata staff and crews have done over and above their contractual obligations. ABB project engineer Daniel Simpson was so impressed with Xmo Strata's site engineer Steve Knights that he wrote to Managing Director Steve Martin to say so and copied in his ABB colleagues. The two met at Beam service station in Essex in August, and Mr Simpson put Steve through a safety audit, discussed the project with him and found Steve had even solved a safety problem that was not part of his remit, bringing in a sharps box to dispose of a needle he'd found on the property but outside his work area the day before. Mr Simpson said he was incredibly impressed and that Steve was a credit to the company. Site engineer Gary Green dealt with an electrifying problem at a fuel forecourt in Stoke-on-Trent when he conducted a last-minute risk assessment. Gary had been due to use a pressure washer to clear the site's price sign, but thought again when he discovered high-voltage cables just metres from the top of the sign. If a jet wash stream had hit the high-voltage cables, it would have found a path straight to the ground, passing through the pressure wash wand that Gary was holding in his hand. When Xmo Strata initially installed the signs, it asked Western Power to sheath the cables, but unbeknown to the company, the sheathing was subsequently removed. Detailed notes have been put on Xmo Man so that the hazard is clearly identified before future visits to the site. Fleet drivers in the UK say they speed when under pressure. That might not be a surprise to many, but it's prompted Xmo Strata bosses to remind the company's drivers that exceeding the speed limit is never acceptable. The road safety charity Brake produced a report which confirmed what many motorists will say they knew already, that fleet drivers are more likely to speed and to engage in risky manoeuvres such as undertaking. The report says a 1 kilometre reduction in average speeds could save 2,200 lives a year across Europe. Director Kate Parmentier said that in a service industry, the pressure to always be on time can be intense, but there was no excuse for speeding, whatever the situation. The British Sign and Graphics Association has warned its members that soon-to-be implemented European legislation will put the spotlight on professionalism, accountability and higher standards in the sign industry. The European Construction Products Regulations will, for example, stipulate that anyone profiting from a sign could be in legal peril if it fails and endangers life, and that includes the sign owner, the sign designer, the maker, installer, and anyone contracted to maintain the sign. And did you know that in many situations, the life of a sign will be deemed to be 10 years? That could have potential legal implications for anyone who owns a sign older than that, which has not been properly maintained. There's a lot more detail on this and other stories highlighted by the BSGA on its website and in the current print edition of the Xmo Strata newsletter. AXA Systems UK Limited asked for permission to use Xmo Strata's powerful I Have to Live With It video for an internal health and safety initiative earlier this year. Here's a quick preview at the video.
Is it really everyone's responsibility? Well, the problem is, I'm old enough to understand what happened, not a kid. I am still wondering if he remembered to do last-minute risk assessment. Did he understand he was in danger, or just take it for granted that he'd done it a million times before? Had he really listened during training, or just nodded in the right places? And maybe we do need to pay more attention to others, before it's too late.
No one warns my daddy. Before it's too late, maybe we do need to pay more attention to others. Had he really listened during training, or just nodded in the right places?
The company made a charity donation for the rights to use the film, although this was discretionary. Xmo Strata doesn't charge for the right to use learning materials for genuine health and safety programmes. Mr. Sean Mills from AXA Assistance wrote to say that employees had found the film powerful and emotional, and that it had hit home, emphasising that health and safety is a responsibility of everyone. The film is one of many produced by Xmo Strata, and you can see this and any other films made by the company in the video vault on the website. And finally, Robin Solaris, who wrote for the Xmo Strata newsletter when it was first launched, sent us an example of a local sign installation in Hong Kong where he now lives and works. Yep, that's bamboo scaffolding that you're looking at. Chinese firms swear by it because it's cheap, renewable, light and quick to erect. But how does it measure up to UK health and safety legislation? Well, the verdict of Xmo Strata executives who've studied the picture was not sure about that one. The tunnel underneath the scaffolding doesn't leave much headroom for large vehicles, and if you fancy challenging yourself, why not look at the picture again in the newsletter and try conducting a last-minute risk assessment. You can find more on all these stories and others in the print edition of the newsletter, and if you haven't been sent one, you can find the latest edition on the Xmo Strata website, where you can also find previous editions of this newscast. Thanks for joining us, and since the next newscast won't be until 2014, from all of us here, we'd like to thank you for your company throughout the year and wish you a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year.